Hey guys, Mel again, and if you just went through our tutorial on video to animated GIF, now we're doing the second video, and this one is on creating a customized result for you guys using variables. As you can see here, this one I got iced Americano. So what I'm going to do in Storyline is get the project set up for you guys, and then we're going to go over creating the variables using Pascal case and the slide that will generate the customized result based on variables.
Alright, so in order to save time, I've kind of already set up these slides for you. What you want to do is create a main page that has a title in the center and then has a button in the center, and I've organized that from top to bottom, and the button is transparent in color in the fill and then has a border, and then the hover is the one that has the sort of transparent white on it. And what you're going to do with that is have the button trigger set to jump to next slide, and then you're going to set up your next slide. So for this slide, what you want to do is have your question in the middle there, and then create your two buttons. You can just create one based off of the one on the main one, and then have that whatever you want to call it, and then have the second one copied from that and have it whatever you want to call it. And both of these are going to jump to the next slide. So all you have to do once you create this first slide here with the question is duplicate it twice and then change the question and change the answers on each of these. In the next step, what we'll do is we will create the variables so that we know what your personalized generated answer will be for this. What we're going to do for the variables is we're going to set them as true or false variables, and in order to get to your variables on the triggers up here, you'll go all the way to the right and you'll want to click on the Manage Project Variables. And for the Manage Project Variables, in order to add a new variable, you'll have to click the plus sign down there, and that says Create New Variable. And we don't want a text variable on the drop down for type. We want to have a true-false variable. And this first one, what we're going to do, since it's hot and cold, what we're going to do is for this one, we're going to call it temperature. Oops. So we can call it temperature hot. And this is a Pascal case. So Pascal case is when you have more than one word and both the beginning of the words are uppercase. So that's considered Pascal case. And we're going to call it a true-false. And we will set the temperature to being true for hot. So for this one, we'll go ahead and do this, and then we'll add the other variables. And then if the user clicks on this, we're going to say that it's going to be true. So what we'll do is we will go to adjust a variable for triggers. When you go to add triggers, we'll adjust the variable temperature hot, so it equals the value true when the user clicks on button 1. So not only is it going to jump to the next slide, but it's going to create that temperature hot equal to true, because obviously you're clicking on it, so you want hot, so it's true. And then what you want to do is copy that and click down here in button 2. We'll click that and we'll paste it right in there, and we don't want it to be true because you're clicking on cold. So what we're going to do is change that to false. Same thing, just depending on what button you pick, it will adjust that variable. So we've done that. We're going to do the exact same thing for the rest, but we want to create the variables for them. So this one's about sweet and bitter. What we're going to do is we're going to create a sweet or bitter one. So we've got the temperature hot. So we'll do flavor. We'll call this, it's a true and false one, and we'll keep the Pascal case. So we'll do flavor sweet. So the Pascal case, as you can see again, capital F, capital S, flavor sweet, and we'll do true. And what you're going to do here, same thing, adjust variable, flavor sweet equals value true. When user clicks button 1. And that's true. And what I'm doing here is adding the variable to the top before it jumps to the slide because we want the variable to be set before it jumps to the slide. Now we're going to do button 2. Same thing. Oh, actually, let's just copy and paste like before. That's the easiest way. Copy, paste, move it up, set to false because it's going to be false. And now to this slide. So how much do you want to drink? We will add another variable there. Variable, let's say, we can say how much. How much drink? We will say true, false. Actually, let's say a little drink. That makes more sense. Say true. So now what we're going to do is adjust the variable for little drink. It's going to be a little, so it's going to be value true. And when you click on the button, I didn't have the button selected, so that's why I didn't set for the button. So so user clicks button 1. Move that up. And that's the thing about Storyline. You have to make sure that you have your right object selected when you're adding a trigger to it. So it's actually pretty good that I did that. And now false, because that's going to be more. All right, so we have our variables set up. The last thing that we're going to do is I need to add another slide that shows your result based on the variables. That one's going to be a little bit more tricky. Just stay tuned and I will show you that. Okay, so let's go ahead and create those custom results layers. As you can see, I'm on the final screen here, and what I want to do is I'm not going to build anything out on this main screen. I'm going to create layers. So the first one I'm going to create is the ristretto one, and I'll go ahead and do that, and the rest then we can duplicate. So with the ristretto one, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add whatever pictures and text you want to add here. So I'll go ahead and grab these pictures. I'll grab this ristretto and then crop it like I did in the other version. And then what I would do here is add some text here, add a title up here, and then I also want to add another button. I'll go ahead and make that prettier a little bit later and show you how to add the Twitter information to that. You go up here for the icons. That's what I typically do, or I just put my own in, but for this we'll just make it easy and put the icon in and make it a little bit larger. There you go. And we'll do that later. But okay, so you have this layer here. Now, how do you get this custom result of ristretto? So what I did was, this is where the variables come into play. On the main screen here, not on the layers, this is where you're going to have the trigger launch depending on the variables that you selected on the buttons. So they change when you press on the buttons. So a ristretto is it is a drink that is bitter, it's hot, and it's small. So what we want to do is make sure all of those variables, the bitter, the temperature ones, the flavors, all of that is set to that. So let's go ahead and do that. So we will adjust variable, and we want to, or we will show layer. We want to show layer when ristretto, when timeline starts, but we only want to show it if our variables that fit ristretto are selected. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going in here, variable, so flavor sweet, ristretto isn't sweet, so we're going to say it's false because it's not sweet. Ristretto is a small drink, so we're going to say true because it is a small drink. And then we're going to say temperature hot, yes, ristretto is hot. So we're going to turn that. So as you can see, I made the variables match up with what the drink is, and that's a better way to use variables because then it fits perfectly like that. So show layer ristretto when the timeline starts if flavor is not sweet, if it's a little drink, and if the temperature is hot. So that's what's going to happen. So let's go ahead and play that and see how that will happen. So I'm going to run this entire project, and I got to make sure that I can remember to press the right buttons or nothing's going to happen. Alright, and you can get rid of all this stuff if you want to. So it's a hot drink, it is bitter, and it's very small. So as you can see, our ristretto showed up. If you had selected other options, it would not show up. And what we're going to do is, and this is just to make it a lot easier, let's pretend I have this whole slide set up already. So what I would do to make it easier is I would just go ahead and duplicate it and then add all my other drinks in here. So the second one would be cappuccino. Let's do that. And then we'll go ahead and you can add the pictures later, but what I'll do is I'll set this one for cappuccino. So we want to set show layer cappuccino when timeline starts. If the variable flavor sweet, we'll say equal to true because cappuccino's sweet. Then we want to say if it's a small drink, it's going to be a larger drink, so we will say equal to false. And then we want to say, is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. So we're going to put true. And then let's go up here and change it so it looks a little different. And we'll just make sure that one worked. And then you guys can go ahead and try this on your own for whatever theme you've picked out for yours. Sorry, I don't have the positioning exactly right like I did the other one. So let's go ahead and play that. So I said it's sweet, I said it's large, I said it's hot. Okay, let's go ahead and try that. And then put all of your different variables together, put your layers together, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that Twitter social sharing piece. So what I'm going to do is, yes, it is hot, yes, it is sweet, yes, it is a lot. So there you go, cappuccino, easy. Alrighty, so now in the next part of this, the final piece, we are going to go over escaping dynamic links and how to get that social sharing to work so that you can share hashtags, you can share mentions, you can add links to it, and also images. Alright, so I'll see you next time.